Sometimes in the halls of Congress it seems as if old bills, unlike old soldiers, neither die nor fade away. They just live on under different titles. I'll be right back. Congress has before it Senate Bill 50, House Resolution 50, entitled the Full Employment and Balanced Growth Act. We first knew of this as the Humphrey-Javits Bill. Fortunately, it didn't get far under that title, but now, unfortunately, it's back, renamed the Humphrey-Hawkins Bill. It is as persuasive and grandiloquent in its promise as the label on a bottle of patent medicine. It declares that every adult American has the right to, quote, opportunities for useful paid employment at fair rates of compensation, unquote. Surely no one wants to quarrel with that. But it sets a goal of 3% adult unemployment to be reached by 1980, which is better than full employment. During times of peak employment, the percentage of workers temporarily and voluntarily between jobs and those looking for a first job total more than 3%. Humphrey-Hawkins, as it's called, requires the president to submit a complete plan every year for achieving full employment and balanced growth. Well, now that too sounds all right. He's supposed to use fiscal and monetary policy, tax revision, and other tools. Here there seems to be some fuzziness because Washington estimates the cost of the bill at anywhere from $16 billion a year to $44 billion. But that phrase, other tools, is the one we should watch out for. To begin with, Congress has to approve the president's plan or, presumably, come up with one of its own. Then, if joblessness isn't reduced to the magic figure, all sorts of employment and grant programs go into effect, including public service employment and job training. We already have about 50 government agencies charged with training and assisting the unemployed. Make that 51. The bill calls for a new full employment office in the Labor Department to administer a reservoir of last resort federal jobs. The bill makes sure that these make-work jobs pay equivalent to wage scales in private industry. Now, this means a built-in inducement for some to quit their present jobs for the guaranteed public job because it would mean a raise in pay. In our experience so far with these emergency public job programs, we've learned that they actually decrease employment because in many instances, government entities only use the program to hire those they already intended to hire. But there's much, much more to fear in Humphrey-Hawkins. Actually, it follows a pattern once used in Italy by a fellow named Mussolini, and then it was called fascism. The annual plan would involve the government allocating resources, including labor. It creates government machinery for planning virtually every aspect of American life, projecting national goals for production, purchasing power, and so forth. These words may not sound frightening, but think of their meaning and application. Government, not the customers, would decide how much of what should be produced. You may think you want a new car, but if government decided refrigerators were more important, steel and other materials would be denied the automaker. That, of course, would mean layoffs, which also means government would begin telling free Americans where they would work and what kind of work they'd do. Maybe it's a full employment program, but so was slavery. This is Ronald Reagan. Thanks for listening. No one who grew up in the Great Depression can be indifferent to the suffering that goes with wanting to work and not being able to find a job. I'll be right back. Yesterday, when I was talking about the threat to freedom inherent in the Humphrey-Hawkins bill, I was aware of the danger that I might appear callous to the plight of the unemployed. This is not so. I don't question the intentions of Senator Humphrey, of Representative Hawkins. They mean well and are sincere in their concern for the plight of the jobless. I hope they and you will credit me with the same sincerity and the same measure of sympathy for the unemployed. I say this because I'm going to ask some questions about the present unemployment rate and whether in our desire to eliminate suffering, we haven't in truth added to the problem. During the recent primary campaign, an article appeared in the press quoting a man who was reported to be president of the nation's largest employment agency. His firm has more than 500 offices nationwide. He claims that 3 million jobs are going begging. His agency had openings listed for unskilled workers, secretaries, medical personnel, file clerks, salesmen, and even marketing specialists and management trainees. Maybe his story caught my eye because for some time now I've been keeping count of the number of full pages in the classified section of the Los Angeles Sunday Times wherein employers advertise for workers to fill job vacancies. Los Angeles has an official unemployment rate of around 10%, but every Sunday there are 30 full pages of help-wanted ads. Take a look at your own metropolitan paper. The Long Beach office of the California State Labor Department was seeking applicants for secretarial jobs at $870 a month, cooks at $1,000, security guards at better than $3 an hour, and craftsmen at $6.50 an hour. And the unemployment rate was 10.3%. To get back to the article, the president of the employment agency said that politicians who sound off about unemployment figures tend to scare job seekers out of looking for a job. He also said that we had gone so far in unemployment benefits that we've made it too easy not to work. He gave examples. In Plainfield, New Jersey, a man unemployed for 5 months came to their office. They found him a job at $20 a week better than the job he'd lost, same kind of work. In 90 days, his pay would go up another $30 a week. He turned it down. He and his wife were receiving $9,880 a year in unemployment insurance, were moonlighting for another $5,200, and were eligible for food stamps. At better than $15,000 a year plus food stamps, he couldn't afford to take the job they'd found for him. In another case, a secretary turned down a job saying, "I'm going to take a 26-week vacation on $90 a week unemployment benefits, tax-free." Now let me ask a question. I'm not making this as a statement, just asking. Why shouldn't anyone unemployed have to take a job which he or she is capable of performing? Why shouldn't the unemployment check be reduced by the amount of the paycheck? In the meantime, let the state employment office be assigned to find as quickly as possible the right kind of job. Was unemployment insurance ever intended to fund 26-week vacations? This is Ronald Reagan. Thanks for listening.